Domestic flight operations begin from today. Limited flight operations for Andhra Pradesh from 26th and West Bengal from 28th of this month. Health Ministry issues guidelines for international arrivals at air, land and seaports. Mandates a 14-day quarantine with 7 days of institutional quarantine followed by 7 days of home isolation. Also issues guidelines for domestic travel. Railways all set to carry 36 lakh migrant workers over the next 10 days. Over 46 lakh migrant workers transported so far. Bookings begin for 100 new pairs of special trains to be run from 1st of June. Active COVID-19 cases across the country rise to 73,560 with 54,440 recoveries and 3,867 fatalities. Globally, confirmed cases rise to over 53 lakh with over 3.4 lakh deaths and 21 lakh recoveries. Heat wave conditions continue in several parts of West and North India. The Met Department issues severe heat wave warning for the next 4 to 5 days in isolated pockets of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Vidarbha and Telangana. And Eid-ul-Fitr celebrations in India and around the world with traditional fervour and gaiety. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President and Vice President extend festive greetings to all on the occasion. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the Bulletin. In the next half an hour, we'll get an account of everything that's been making it to the headlines. We begin with our top story. The Indian skies have opened up for domestic passenger services from today after a gap of 2 months. The first flight flew from Delhi at 4:45 a.m. and reached Pune in Maharashtra today. 23 passengers were on board the flight. They expressed happiness on returning home. They added that all precautionary measures are being taken to ensure safety of the passengers. The first arrival at the airport will be from Ahmedabad in Gujarat.
तरीके से चीज़ें सारी मेंटेन हो रही हैं एंड पॉसिबली एवरी काइंड ऑफ स्टूडेंट जितने हैं सभी के लिए राहत है कि हमें जाने को मिल रहा है ना, जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। मे बी प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, चाहे वो 2-3 साल से जॉब कर रहे हैं एंड अच्छे तरीके से सारे काम हो रहे हैं एयरपोर्ट पर। आई कैन सी दैट।
ये अच्छा लग रहा है। 2 महीने से दिल्ली में फंसे हुए थे और अभी जाने का मौका मिल रहा है तो बहुत खुशी हो रही है। 3 घंटे पहले पहुँचना है एयरपोर्ट, मिनिमम 2 घंटे और मैक्सिमम 4 घंटे। और एक कैब में 2 लोग से ज़्यादा अलाउ नहीं हुए, तो मैं अकेला कैब करके आया हूँ यहाँ पे।
Vistara to Delhi to Bhubaneswar flight also departed from IGI airport today. At Bhubaneswar airport, the authorities conducted a trial run with all stakeholders participating in the entire process from entry of the passengers to boarding, while ensuring that all Corona-19 guidelines are followed. Sanitizers and wash basins were adequately arranged at different places of the airport. Trolleys, trays, X-ray machines and counters were sanitized. Passengers at Chennai International Airport observed social distancing. The number of incoming passenger flights to Chennai is restricted to 25 per day. Chennai Airport will ensure touch-free flying experience for the passengers. And up next, we'll take a look at some important facts regarding domestic flight resumption. Domestic flights from all states except for Andhra Pradesh, which will start on May 26th, and West Bengal on May 28th, recommence their operations from today. Now, there will be limited flights from Mumbai and as per approved 1/3 schedule of the other airports in the state. For Tamil Nadu, there will be maximum 25 arrivals in Chennai, but there is no limit on the number of departures. For other airports in Tamil Nadu, flights will operate as in other parts of the country. Airports across the country are prepared to ensure the safety of air travellers, with contactless and digitized air travel becoming the new normal. All international scheduled commercial passenger flights remain suspended. And as we told you, only Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal flight operations will commence later on. Otherwise, domestic flights have recommenced their operations. Andhra Pradesh will start the operations on May 26th and West Bengal on May 28th. Added to that, food and beverage and retail outlets are open at Indira Gandhi Airport. And also, to get you more on that, we will be joined in by our correspondents, but before that we'll also get to other details. It must be noted that all international scheduled commercial flights still remain suspended. Added to that, we'll also get to other standard operating procedures which have been put forth by Airport Authority of India. When we talk of the important points, then limited operations will be allowed, that is 1/3 of the total operations. Airlines should adhere to lower and upper limits of fares prescribed by the ministry during the period of COVID-19 pandemic. No physical check-in at airport counters would be allowed. Passengers with confirmed web check-in shall be allowed at the airport. Self-declaration through Arogya Setu app is mandatory, and children below 14 years, however, are exempted. Passengers need to wear protective gear. They have to wear a face mask throughout the journey. This is the best precaution one can take against COVID-19. No meal services on board. No on-board sale of item will be allowed. Passengers will not be permitted to consume any eatables inside the aircraft. Also, no paper or magazines will be available in the aircraft. The cabin crew has been directed to wear full protective suit. The airlines to do health checkup of all the crew members regularly. Frontline airline staff at counters to wear mandatory protective gear and also ensure social distancing while accepting baggage. Initially, the passenger would be entitled to carry one hand baggage and one checked-in baggage. The use of baggage trolleys has to be minimized. Passengers have to report at the airport 2 hours before the departure time. Boarding will commence 60 minutes before departure and the gates to close 20 minutes before departure. Staggered sequential boarding in batches of 10 has to be practiced. Body temperature screening of the passengers entering in the terminal area and also at the boarding point has to be ensured. Passengers to travel in authorized taxi or personal vehicle following the norms specified by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Passengers also have to adhere to the social distancing norm, which would be specified at the airports through markings like circles. The airports have to ensure easy availability of hand sanitizers at all entry and touch points. Also, the airports have to ensure sanitization of the buses used by passengers at regular intervals, and also all the washrooms at the airports have to be sanitized continuously. If any passenger feels uncomfortable, fatigued or has cough, it should be brought to the notice of the crew member for handling of the passenger. Vulnerable persons such as very elderly people with comorbidities, pregnant ladies, passengers with ailments are advised to avoid air travels. Airlines have to ensure that aircrafts are sanitized after every trip and at the end of the day. And to get us more on that, Neeraj Singh is joining us with more. Neeraj, we've told our viewers about the flight operations which resume from today onwards. We've also shown the people there expressing their happiness and thankfulness to the government. You're there at the airport. Let us know more. What reactions, what are you witnessing there? And also get us a brief sense of what all measures have been put in by the airport to ensure that people stick and adhere to the social distancing norm.
देखिए बिल्कुल प्रीति 2 महीने के बाद फ़्लाइट ऑपरेट होना शुरू हुई है घरोली और निश्चित तौर पर जो लोग लॉकडाउन में फंसे होंगे वो काफ़ी खुश हैं। कई सारे यात्रियों से हमने बात की। किस तरह के इंतजाम हैं वो हम आपको दिखा देते हैं। हमारे कैमरामैन भी आपको बताएंगे कि सबसे पहले तो जो वेब चेकिंग की जो सुविधा है वो एयरपोर्ट के बाहर ही उपलब्ध है कि जो भी यात्री हवाई जहाज़ से सफ़र करना चाहता है और कहीं पर भी उसके पास अगर उसने टिकट बुक किया है तो वो वेब चेकिंग यहाँ पर करेगा और उसके बाद जो टिकट है उसको लेकर जब अंदर जाएगा तो दूसरी जो स्टेज आएगी वो है बैगेज जो बैगेज है वो यहाँ पर पहुँचेगा। और आप देखें तो बैगेज सैनिटाइजेशन जोन यहाँ पर बनाया है। अगर बैगेज में भी किसी तरह से कोई भी इन्फेक्शन या किसी तरह का कोई वायरस है तो वो यहाँ से ख़त्म हो जाएगा। और उसके बाद हम तीसरी स्टेज आपको प्रीति दिखाते हैं। ये अगर देखें तो CISF के जो जवान हैं वो यहाँ पर खड़े हैं, क्योंकि किसी भी तरह की जो फिजिकल चेकिंग है वो यहाँ पर नहीं की जाएगी। अगर आप यहाँ पर देखें तो एक शीट बनाई गई है, कांच का एक कह सकते हैं कि शीशा है। जो भी जो यात्री है जो यहाँ पहुँच रहा है पैसेंजर, वो वहीं से दूर से ही वेब चेकिंग की टिकट या फिर मोबाइल के पास जो उनके पास टिकट है वो यहाँ से दिखा रहा है। तो किसी भी तरह का कोई संपर्क बिल्कुल यहाँ पर नहीं हो रहा है। और तमाम जो यहाँ पर जो लोग हैं वो लगातार इस बात का जिक्र कर रहे हैं कि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग है उसका पूरी तरीके से जो पालन है वो होना चाहिए। और जो भी यात्री यहाँ पर पहुँच रहे हैं उन्हें किसी तरह की कोई परेशानी ना हो, उसके लिए भी तमाम तरह के जो इंतजाम हैं वो प्रीति किए गए हैं। दूसरी सबसे बड़ी बात है कि उनके पास आरोग्य जो सेतु ऐप है वो उनके मोबाइल में डाउनलोड होना चाहिए। और वो भी जो ऐप है वो ग्रीन दिखना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब ग्रीन दिखेगा तो उस पर लिखेगा कि यू आर सेफ। तो उस कंडीशन में उनको यात्रा की जो अनुमति है वो दी जाएगी। अगर वो ग्रीन नहीं दिखेगा आरोग्य सेतु ऐप तो उन्हें यात्रा की अनुमति नहीं दी जाएगी। इसके साथ साथ ही जो मास्क है वो कंपलसरी किया गया है। यात्रा के दौरान जो मास्क है वो पहन के रखना होगा, चाहे वो प्लेन के अंदर हो। और कई सारे यात्री ऐसे भी आते हैं जिनको जानकारी नहीं होती है। तो हम आपको बता दें कि एयरपोर्ट पर ही जो दुकानें हैं वो भी एयरपोर्ट के बाहर खोल दी गई हैं, जहाँ पर आपको हैंड सैनिटाइजेशन है वो हैंड सैनिटाइज वो मिलेगा, मास्क मिलेंगे, ग्लव्स मिलेंगे। इसके अलावा जो फेस शील्ड है वो भी यहाँ पर मौजूद है। इसके अलावा PPE किट है वो भी यहाँ पर मौजूद है। तो तमाम तरह की जो सुविधाएं हैं उसका ध्यान रखा गया है, क्योंकि एयरपोर्ट के अंदर जाने पर भी तमाम जो हैंड सैनिटाइजर हैं वो अलग अलग जगह पर रखे हुए हैं। प्लेन के अंदर किसी भी तरह का जो फूड है वो लेके नहीं जा सकते, उसको अलाउ नहीं किया गया। और वहाँ अंदर भी जो प्लेन के अंदर भी जितने भी लोग होंगे वो प्रॉपर ड्रेस पहन के रहेंगे, पूरी तरीके से अपने आप को कवर करके रहेंगे। तो ये तमाम तरह के जो दिशा निर्देश हैं वो दिए गए हैं। और यात्रियों से भी कहा गया है कि 2 घंटे पहले एयरपोर्ट पर पहुंचें ताकि आसानी से वो चेक इन कर सकें और अपने जो सफ़र है, जो गंतव्य है उसके लिए आसानी से रवाना हो सके, उन्हें किसी तरह की परेशानी ना हो। और तमाम जो यात्री हैं वो यहाँ पर पहुँच रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो फ्लाइट हैं वो समय पर ऑपरेट हो रही हैं। हालांकि नॉर्थ ईस्ट की कुछ फ्लाइट है वो जरूर कैंसिल हुई हैं। प्रीति,
all right, Neeraj, thank you for joining us with those inputs from the Indira Gandhi International Airport. That was our correspondent Neeraj Singh telling us more about the measures which have been taken by the airport to ensure that people adhere to the norms of social distancing and proper precautions are taken. And also in some more good news, the Civil Aviation Ministry has announced the calibrated resumption of Udan flights. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri tweeted, and I quote him, "Preference being given to flights connecting Northeast region, hill states, islands and short-haul routes." Further details will be issued by the ministry. And many Indians stranded overseas continue to be repatriated as part of the Vande Bharat mission. More than 30,000 stranded Indians have boarded the Vande Bharat flight since May 6th. Yesterday, 680 more people returned on 3 flights from Toronto, Singapore and London. The latest flight to arrive under Vande Bharat mission was from Muscat, which landed at Gaya airport today. 132 passengers were on board, including 116 who stayed in Bihar, while 16 went to Jharkhand. Earlier, a special flight from London landed first in Mumbai and then Indore. 93 passengers were on board. These passengers will be quarantined for 14 days. Also, a flight landed in Mumbai and Bengaluru too from Manila. The passengers expressed happiness and thanked the government. A flight also landed in Kochi from Singapore yesterday evening. And Doha to Gaya Vande Bharat flight will return with 146 passengers on board, while Air India flight from Moscow to Delhi is scheduled at 11:50 a.m. today. It has been delayed by up to 24 hours due to technical reasons. Embassy of India in Russia will inform about the revised time of departure. And from here, we shift our focus now to the railways. Indian Railways will operate 2,600 Shramik special trains over the next 10 days. It hopes to ferry 36 lakh migrant laborers. Meanwhile, Indian Railways has run more than 2,813 Shramik special trains carrying over 37 lakh passengers till 10 a.m. yesterday. Nearly 60% trains originated from Gujarat, Maharashtra and Punjab and are majorly destined for Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. IRCTC and railways have mobilized resources to ensure regular supply of meals and water to Shramik special trains and minimize the inconvenience which has been caused to the passengers. Meanwhile, 1,000 ticket counters have been opened across the country for 200 Mail Express train tickets starting from 1st of June. For the convenience of the passengers, Railways is also mulling to open more counters. Up next, we'll get you an update on the active COVID-19 cases across the country. The cases have risen to 73,560 with 54,440 recoveries and 3,867 fatalities. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Delhi continue to be worst affected states in the country. And the COVID-19 pandemic may have dampened Eid celebrations across the country, but it could not dampen the spirit of the festival. People were seen wearing masks across the streets and following social distancing norms. Respecting the nationwide lockdown, people have decided to offer prayers at their homes. President Ramnath Kovind has greeted fellow citizens on the eve of Eid ul-Fitr. In his message, President Kovind said, and I quote him, "The festival is an expression of love, peace, brotherhood and harmony." He said on this occasion, people reaffirm the belief in sharing with caring for the most vulnerable sections of the society. The President called upon people to carry the spirit of giving more vigorously at a time when people are faced with an unprecedented crisis created by COVID-19 virus. Also, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu in his message said that the festival fortifies the spirit of compassion, charity and generosity in the society, and it is an occasion for families and communities to come together. He said, however, this year, as India and the world continues to fight the relentless battle against the spread of COVID-19, people are celebrating almost all traditional festivals at home. He also said that people have to be content with a subdued celebration and adhere to the safety norms of social distancing and personal hygiene. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended greetings on Eid ul-Fitr. In his tweet, he said, and I quote him, "May this special occasion further the spirit of compassion, brotherhood and harmony. May everyone be healthy and prosperous." And joining us is Vikas Singh from Lucknow to get us more about the Eid celebrations there. Vikas, let us know how are people celebrating Eid, though we tell our viewers that there is no dampening of the spirit of the people when we talk of the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic and also the safety measures which have to be taken. You let us know how are people celebrating Eid there in Lucknow today?
जी बिल्कुल, लखनऊ में ईद मनाई जा रही है, लेकिन इस बार तरीका बदला है। ईद मनाने के लिए कोविड-19 के बाद इस बार थोड़ी सी एहतियात बरती जा रही है। नमाज अदा करने के लिए ईदगाहों में सिर्फ 5 लोग नमाज अदा करेंगे और मौलाना द्वारा ये अपील की गई है कि आप लोग एक दूसरे से गले न मिलकर सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से, मोबाइल फ़ोन के माध्यम से एक दूसरे को बधाई दें, एक दूसरे के घर हो सके तो ना ही जाएं। और ख़ास तौर से जो ईद उल फितर के दिन फितरा बांटा जाता है, गरीबों को, जो कमज़ोर लोग हैं उन तक जो है एक रकम पहुंचाई जाए, एक सामान पहुंचाए, जिससे कि वो भी खुशी से महरूम ना रह सके। हमारे साथ सूफिया निजामी जी हैं जो बताएंगे कि ऐशबाग ईदगाह में किस तरीके से नमाज अदा की जाएगी और आप लोगों ने क्या संदेश जारी किया है।
जी देखिए, इस्लामिक सेंटर ऑफ इंडिया और ईदगाह ऐशबाग से जो संदेश जारी हुआ था वो यही है कि इस वक्त जो पूरी दुनिया में कोविड-19 जैसी मुहलिक बीमारी से हम लड़ रहे हैं, उसमें एक आम शहरी की जो जिम्मेदारी हो सकती है और हमारा जितना हिस्सा हो सकता है हम उतना योगदान करें।
All
और
right.
जो सरकारी गाइडलाइन है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से जो हिदायत आई हैं, जो रूल
Yes, so people sticking to the guidelines which have been put forth when we talk of the prevention against COVID-19. Thank you, Vikas, for joining us from Lucknow. At present, we'll get you the breaking news which is just coming in. Indian hockey legend Balbir Singh Dosanjh, popularly known as Balbir Senior, breathed his last at the age of 95 after battling multiple health issues for over 2 weeks. The triple Olympic champion was hospitalized in Mohali on May 8th and had been on ventilator support. A forward par excellence, Balbir Senior was one of the most decorated athletes in Indian sports history with Olympic gold medals in 1948, 1952 and 1956 games. He also coached the Indian team to its first and only World Cup win in 1975 in Malaysia. To get us more on that, our correspondent Tejinder is joining us. Teji, when we talk of Balbir Senior, we see him breathe his last just today morning. Let us know how much and how big is the loss to the world of hockey.
Well, yes, Preeti, it's a big loss for Indian hockey, for Indian sports. I mean, he was the legend, three-time Olympic gold medal winner, legend Balbir Singh Senior. He died on Monday in the morning today at around 6:30 in Fortis Hospital in Mohali. So he was admitted there and he was on ventilator support. And he's one of the greatest athletes. He's the only Indian among 16 legends who was chosen by International Olympic Committee across modern Olympic history. His world record for most goals scored by individual in men's hockey final at the Olympics still remains unbeaten. That tells what kind of a player he was. And not only as a player, but as a manager. He managed the team in 1975 hockey team, which won the only World Cup as well. And whenever you meet him, he was always happy, always laughing, always talking to young players, guiding them. So it's a big loss for Indian hockey, and a player of his stature is no more with us, and his guidance used to be a lot. It meant a lot for the young players. Young players always went to him. Whenever there was any matches, you could see him that he was there watching hockey, guiding the players. So that guidance will be no more. And let me tell you a little bit about him. In 1948 in the London Olympics, that was his first appearance in 1948 Summer Olympics in match against Argentina. And it was in their second match, and he played in the final against Great Britain as well, where he scored 2 goals, and India won that match 4-0. But then in Helsinki Olympics in 1952, he was made the vice captain of the team. And in that particular tournament, in that Olympics in 1952, he scored 5 goals out of 6 against Netherlands in the final. And that is the world record, which still has not been beaten. And after that, in 1956, in Melbourne Olympics, he became the captain of the team, although he was injured after the first match, but then played the semi-final and the final. And in final, India beat Pakistan 1-0, and that was his 3rd gold medal in the Olympics. So he was not only a good player, but a good human being, and always there to guide young players. So it's a big loss for Indian hockey, for Indian sports.
Indeed, a big loss there for Indian sports today. Thank you so much, Teji, for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent Tejinder telling us more about the stellar career which Balbir Senior had during his stint with Indian hockey. And even as we speak, we tell you this is the breaking news coming in. Indian hockey legend Balbir Singh Dosanjh, popularly known as Balbir Senior, he breathed his last today morning owing to multiple health issues, and he was battling multiple health issues over 2 weeks now. On that note, we will end this bulletin here. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.